Oh, it's great when you buy something that's supposed to do something and it does it. That's awesome. And it's on. Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit of recording on this because I'm getting close to, well, I haven't recorded much of this or any of this because I don't necessarily know enough to make a tutorial on it. There's not a ton of information on people porting LS2 intakes. I found one video of a guy doing it, and he had some pretty decent information in there, and then I've looked at a few pictures and whatnot, and just kind of started going after it. But basically, well, you can see what I have here, and I've got this side. It's not done, but anyways, I'm down to the last two ports I haven't touched. I actually touched this spot just a little bit just to see, because it's kind of, so the way these LS2 intakes are, so the LS1 and LS6 are made with what they call a lost core mold. So it's molded into one piece. This one is a 3-piece, and they say it's friction welded together. I really don't understand what that means. I guess this part is right here. I don't know. Well, I get it, but I don't know exactly how they do that. But basically, the runners, see if you can see that, they're not, look at that, it moves. So I looked at it from the inside. It's kind of like this part right here has a little pocket that sits in, and I can press on the and look through the inside and see the stuff moving. This one runner, I was moving the whole thing. So why everyone says that these LS2 intakes suck is because they leak internally, and that's what they're talking about right there. So I get it that is definitely a problem for naturally aspirated, and that's why everyone hates on them. But for a boosted application, I don't believe that it'll be much of a problem. I'm worried about that. You know, I don't know how it would work if the whole thing sees 35 or 25 to 30 pounds of boost. Is it gonna run through here? Is it gonna push that out? But anyways, what I'm doing is I'm taking the edges down, and there's only so far you can go on it. I'm not doing a crazy port. I have some longer Dremel carbides coming in. They're like 4 inches long, so I could get down in there if I wanted to, but I'm not really worried about going down in there. And I mean, it could be fine throwing it on and it working like that boosted, but I'm just gonna clean these up. So if you can see what I did, so it's kind of hard to see, but let's see if I can find a spot. Like, say like right here, you see where I scribed around right there? See if the flash doesn't mess it up. But basically, you could see there was a witness mark from where it was sitting on the head. So I just took a pick and sharpened it, and I scribed that little witness mark around. So that's basically what I'm doing, is I'm opening up into that spot. These look a little bit better on this side. I spent more time on them, but I'm still working on this side. But you kind of see what I got going on here, and I'm not taking it out, I'm not hogging it all the way out like most people I've seen do, but I'm just port matching it basically, and just kind of making everything flow a little bit better. Like, see this hard lip right here? See how I come over here and it's, you know, and they're all different. They're not uniform. So however the intake is made, like they're all a little bit different. So you kind of just go with it and be mindful of what you're doing as you go. But the biggest thing is 92 millimeter intake right there. So what I'm going to do here is I might open this up a little bit. I got to wait till I get a throttle body. That's a whole another story. You'll see about that. And I might take that edge off right there a little bit, just round it off on the corner. That's what I saw the guy in the video do. And then in the front here, take out these little ribs and just kind of flatten everything out in the front. It seems like on, you know, the basic stuff, the basic porting, that people just kind of smooth this out in here so the air comes in nice and smooth and then gets distributed. Some people go all the way through. Some people take those center supports out and they do the rod mod, as they call it, where it puts a rail on each side all the way across, and it supposedly makes it like some type of velocity stack or something. I'm not doing that, and I'm definitely not taking those out because it's going to be boosted and we need to keep the intake together. So that's what I'm working on, and I tapped that and plugged it. That's where the map sensor would be. Mine's on a piece of tube, so it's cool that comes blocked off. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to break that off. I'm going to put my map sensor on there because it's just stuck in a piece of tube or hose. That's how I had it. And then I also tapped 8th MPT for my blow-off valve reference, and then I tapped that right there and plugged it because I don't use that over there. So that's what I got going on. That's my little update before I keep going too crazy on this. But this will get somewhere. I don't know if it's be the beginning of a video or in the middle or something, but this is my LS2 intake swap. Well, I have that hole there I can move over. The brackets will need a spacer though with these injectors because that's going to sit a little high, and it would need to be re-drilled here and here, or a different bracket, and different injector O-ring, because those are obviously too small, so I'm going to have to figure that part out too. Well, I'm glad that I took it off and test fit it and figured this now before I tried to slap it in. Alright, so I have taken this thing as far as I'm going to take it, and it looks, I actually just ran this through the dishwasher, and it's pretty clean, but it's got this kind of color to it. When I went over it with the sandpaper, and it kind of discolored it a little bit for whatever reason, so that's not a big deal. But yeah, you see I opened it up. I didn't go too deep down in there. You really don't have to go far. Like the main, it's really like approximately like an inch down that you got to just bring it level, and then obviously the port matching deal. So that's how they look, and it's definitely more than good enough for a boosted application. This is kind of the procedure that I followed of people online talking about doing this. You know, the light porting, port matching, basic porting, whatever you want to call it, and they pick up like 20 horsepower on an NA setup. So it's good for something. And then in here, I forgot to sand that one with the 320 grit. But anyways, I went down here. I just took this ridge out in the front right there. And I mean, it's really not that big of a deal. I want as much webbing still in there just to hold this thing together under 30 pounds, 30-ish pounds. But I figure, you know, that one little one in the front right there, the air coming in, maybe it just, you know, will kind of smooth flow past that a little bit better. But obviously you got the one right back there. So I don't know. I don't really want to go too crazy in there. I didn't do anything around here because my throttle body lines up perfect. I can't really do this one-handed. But it, you know, it basically lines up perfect with a 92mm throttle body. But so yeah, that's my ported LS2 intake. I took it outside and I kind of just I took my throttle cable off and just stuck it up to it to see where everything was going to live. And this bracket that I got on Amazon, it sits too far forward, so the cable would, like the nut on the cable would rest about back here. So I'm going to have to get crafty with that. I ordered another one. I don't know. I think it's going to sit around the same spot, but maybe that one might be easier to modify. We'll see. Or I might just have to make a custom one like I did for the LS1 intake. But I'll get to that point. I'll just put it in and start making some stuff. Another thing, I got these custom O-rings for, it says to put, it's for an LS1 injector. It doesn't say very much, very clear on here, but spacing kit LS1, LS2, LS3, what that is supposed to mean is for an LS1 injector to go at LS2 / LS3 manifold. So, and that's the spacing and whatnot, which I'll get to that. I might have to mess with my brackets, or I might be able to get some brackets that will fit. So basically the fuel rail stuff is the same on an LS3 as it is an LS2, but these O-rings sit in there nice and flush, but the ID of them is tiny. It's like, I think it was like, we're at like 250, so a 1/4 inch. I got a regular truck O-ring right here, and I think that's around like 0.4 if I'm not mistaken, somewhere around there ish. And then the injector itself was around like 0.4. So the LS1 style injector, which is what I have, is my Bosch 210s, the EV1 style. They were around like 0.3.5, something like that. So I managed to get one on there somehow. I can throw a picture of that in there. I think I have a picture of it. But it was super, super tight. So basically I got it on there, and then like I had to put oil on it and like really get it down in there. So it's possible for these to work, but I would literally have to stick each injector in individually and then put the rail on. So I'm still going to look into that some more. If I really have to use these, I can make them work, but I would rather not. I'd kind of like to have an injector that fits right. So if I need to take the rail off, I can pull them all out at once like I normally do. But, I mean, I guess we won't have a boost leak there. So, I still got that to figure out a little bit. But otherwise, we're getting close to putting it in the car and making sure the hood clears, which that's going to be another deal. Hopefully, I don't have to come and take any of this material off or anything on the hood. There's really only like a 1/4 inch I can spare on the hood. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. It's going to work one way or another. So, that's my progress on my ported LS2 intake. Alright, I gotta be really quiet because it's 10:30 at night. I wonder if you can see. You see the throttle body there? Well, anyways, the hood's closed, and I got the LS2 intake on there, and it's clearing, so that's a good thing. So that's sick. Well, I'll put a couple bolts in and close it again just in case it didn't lift the back of it up, and I gotta check and make sure my throttle bracket's gonna work for this setup. Maybe I'll find out in a second. I put one bolt in the back to make sure it wasn't tilting when I closed it. I'm gonna have to modify my throttle cable bracket here just a little bit. I'll just have to trim out. Oh, that's zoomed in. Just gonna have to trim out right here, and I can do that inside. But yeah, it's looking like it's gonna line up. It's not fully closed, actually. Well, no, it's close, but I got plenty of adjustment right here. So I think it's going to work out. I think it's going to work out nice. That clears no problem. I haven't put the charge pipe on, but I'm more than likely, because you could see it was touching right there and there. So, but that's not a big deal at all. I'm just going to end up just probably cutting a little chunk out right there. And then it'll be fine. It'll still be structurally sound. And yeah, so I'm going to take this inside, and I can talk a little louder and tell you what I'm going to do next. Alright, as you can see, I'm a little limited on space right now, but, so, this is what I got going on. So, I have to drill some new holes in these little bracket deals here, and just bend them a hair so you can see. I got them, the injectors with the stock O-rings that came with the Bosch 210s, sitting in there. And the rail is going to sit a little different on this intake. And obviously this is made for the LS1. Bye-bye. And I just got to drill another hole in it, which it wants to be kind of hard to angle it with this hose here on the front, but it wants to be in really close. So I just got to make sure I got enough room to get at least this Allen back down in there and still clear the bolt. So I'll kind of probably just measure it like that, maybe. And I wanted to run the stock bolts. They have a stud coming out of them, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit that, because if I can do that, then I could try and put the Corvette covers on. But regardless, that's not really that important. So I'm going to, actually, let's just pull this one off real quick, because I pretty much know where I'm going to drill now. I'm not pulling them all off. So, fuck Michigan Motorsports. I hate ordering from them. So I got these right here. Those do not fit whatsoever. So these are from Injector Shop. I don't know what the part number is. I see a -156. Maybe that is. I'll find the link and put it down in the description. But I mic these, and they look like they're going to fit. And the ID is a lot bigger than that bullshit down there that the Michigan Motorsports sent. So don't buy those. At first glance, that looks promising. Let's see what it's like with one on. Alright, went on nice and easy. Dude, literally perfect. Like butter. Oh, it's great when you buy something that's supposed to do something and it does it. That's awesome. Anyways, alright. So I'm going to get all those guys on, and I'm going to drill some holes in these little brackets. And that's basically it. I don't know what happened here. This looks like it lined up fine on this LS1 intake over here. Get that other bolt in with one hand, please. it looks, it kind of looks a little crooked. Maybe I made that crooked a long time ago. But anyways, it definitely looks crooked on here, which is not a big deal, but it still lines up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this hole up a little bit so I can shift that way. And hopefully that all still fits right with the rail on there and everything. So, yeah, I'm going to do those couple things, and that's pretty much it. And we should be able to bolt everything back in. All right. I just love my Dremel so much. It's my most used tool. All right, I'm gonna record this real fast. It's late. I'm tired. I don't feel like doing anything. But I made a throttle body video. You should have. It'll be up before this one. But apparently there's something else I needed to know about this. So the IAC here. You look at this right here. It has a chamfer that goes right in, no problems. This does not. It stops right there. So it's a sharp edge. So I'm basically trying to cut a chamfer into it until that fits in there like it does on that one. So yeah, before I do that, I was gonna let you know. And I don't know if this shit's made out of Damascus steel or what. These little brackets, I mean, that's cool to hold my fuel rails on. That's great. But I couldn't drill through it, so I ended up having to use the Dremel, and I slotted them all and just kind of bent the little brackets in the right spots. But they're in there, nice and sturdy. I got a good I don't know what I was gonna say. I got a good angle on the rails, so that's good to go. But I'm gonna try and get this little guy to work the way it's supposed to real quick, and then we'll go from there. All right. So the whole IAC deal, that was a bitch. There's a tiny little gap right there. I don't know if you can see that, but I got tired of dremeling, and I just kind of sucked it down with those bolts. It's basically there. Hopefully it works properly. I'm guessing that this is exact copy of the Holley, because I've read that or I've seen that the Holley sniper throttle body, you have to buy a special IAC from Holley for it to work. So maybe that's the deal there. So I don't know if you buy one of them, but I'm not spending over $100 for an IAC. Anyways, I made that one work. I took the throttle bracket and I just trimmed it a little bit, and it seems like that's gonna line up fine. I didn't have to mess with the holes. I got the brackets on. Everything's in a decent position. So I think it's, I gotta put the map sensor on, which that's how I have my map sensor hooked up. You know, I don't know if I could have. No, there's not room to even drill a hole and tap it right to put it right there, but I don't know. It may have stayed in with that clip. Who knows? But I'm not doing that. I'm going to put it on this little plug in the back, which it should have enough room to hang. We'll see. I might have to bend it out of the way or something. I don't know. I'm going to have to fool with this a little bit, but basically that comes sealed off, which that's nice if you don't want to use it, but I'm going to have to break that off and get this little bad boy on here somehow. Hopefully I got room to just do that like that. Let's go find out. And it's on. Yeah, got everything hooked up. Wow, I should have, yeah, the map sensor's bent back. It just barely fits, but I got all that stuff in the way now. Got the fuel lines on. I primed it. Nothing seems to be leaking so far, so that's a good thing. Right now I am messing with my throttle, so I had to adjust that all the way back to get that to close all the way, and I'm almost getting wide open throttle, which I'm going to have to bend the pedal back a little bit. It's just barely there. I was using my phone to look and see how far it was going, so let's see if we can get wide, because you know we need that. All right, I've got the throttle cable pretty close. I can't tell if it's hitting the stop. It's almost there, but I'm gonna mess with it a little bit. But real quick, I'm gonna start it and just make sure everything's fine. So let's do that real fast. The throttle blade is all the way closed, so we'll see what this does. Oh yeah, that IAC is loud. IAC's at 100%. That's not what you want, but hey, it's running. Make sure we don't have any fuel leaks real quick. let's fine tune her. All right, you ready? I would say moment of truth, but I just tried it and I forgot to record. But watch this. Well, look at that. It clears. Probably can't see down in there, but yeah, no problems. Gangster, gangster. So, I'm wondering if it's still gonna hit there. I might still have to trim on it, but hey, it's working, you know. Might clean that spot off and see if it leaves another mark or whatever, you know, on both sides. But hey, it's on there. Now I just got to do a little bit of fine tuning. And yeah, we got to get wide open throttle, like 100%. I don't know exactly what it's at right now. But yeah, looks like we're basically there. So I'm going to play with that a little bit. We'll get back. All right, it's time for a boost leak test. And this is the most effective way that I've learned. My man Jason Dillard. And he's actually got a video on his channel. Check out Dillard Tune. And so the way I do it, and you can kind of find different things. You can find a good thick piece of plastic, but what I do is I put plastic on there, and then I have the cover that came with my turbo, and I clamp it down on there to seal that off. And then got my little air compressor here hooked up to a hose going into my vacuum distribution block. And you can get about 15 pounds in it before that pops off, but basically just hit it with some air. You see it swell a little bit. And when the cars quit going by, you can listen for leaks. That's the thing that sucks. It's just little things like this. I gotta wait for a little peace and quiet. But I just mainly want to make sure that none of these O-rings are leaking. I'm gonna stick my head down close and hear what I hear. Hopefully nothing. Yeah, I think we're good to go. Checks out. The only thing I can hear is a tiny little hiss from the catch can, which that's normal. That's good. There's cars going by, so you probably can't hear, but maybe. Tiniest little hiss from the catch can, which is great. Cool, so no boost leaks. We're good to go on that. Of course, on Holly, you have to do a TPS reset every time you mess with the throttle blade. So I'm going to do that because I just gave it a little bit of a tweaking. So we're going to start there. We got to get it up to temperature to get the ACK numbers right. But so let's run it for a little bit at least. Just make sure everything's still good. Fire it right up. ACK is wide open. So that means we need to open the throttle blade at least a little bit. It's normally not all the way open on Cold Start, but you know, we'll let it run a little bit and see what it does. Fuel leaks. You can see it's plus. Hopefully it doesn't idle too much different. And I imagine Jason's gonna have to retune it a little bit. Suck in a lot more air now. Looks nice. Of course, it don't look too much different, but a little bit. All right, we got wide open throttle now. I literally just bent the pedal and bent that stop back. I tried to use some wrenches, but that thing ain't moving, so I just bent it back and pulled the pedal up. Which, yeah, look at that. I might have to get used to where it rests now, but it's not that much different. They're kind of all even. That's still fine. I can get down with that. That works. Not gonna lie, the gas pedal being moved just the slightest little bit is throwing me way off. I'm so used to how this car feels. I've been in it so long. A little this change makes a big difference. Yeah, let's see if it feels any different. I'm not expecting it to feel any different. We gotta add some timing, but see how it feels. I don't know, man. That felt like it picked up on the top end. Maybe it's just Maybe it's just me. No, I'm pretty sure I feel a difference on the top end there, which is the whole point of me doing this, but, that's interesting. I felt like it wasn't gonna feel much different without adding some timing to it, but I think, yeah, that definitely felt different for sure. Oh, well, cool. So far, so good. Let's give it a little more R&D. Well, might as well do a little thorough testing up here in the mountains. Well, I have a mountain next to my house. It's not technically the mountains, but it's pretty cool. It's close by, and I can do a little mini mountain run. It takes about 20 minutes to go up and back. But so far, so good. Everything seems to be working all right. Got this one-handed. Well, there goes our fun. We got a car in front of us now. Oh well. This is the fun turn. Can't really hit it though. And now we do 20 miles an hour the rest of the way. I mean, who else do you know that does mountain runs on drag slicks with a Detroit locker? I mean, you know, these are my street tires though. This is a street car, and it technically is still a Miata. So hey, you know, I can do this better with two hands, but you know, for cinematic effect. Car, bike. Alright, I'm gonna use my other hand now. Well, everything was going great until it wasn't. I don't know what happened. I'm hoping I just shredded a belt. I don't know what that was. But I got a weird noise. At least I'm rolling to the gas station now. That's how it goes. Fuck, man. Temperature was climbing up pretty high. I still had alternator. I don't know. We're about to find out. I'm gonna pull in over here. Well, I guess we can find out together. The belt's still there. That's not fucking good. Oh God, please don't be my motor. Fuck, man. That's not good. I don't know what that noise was. Dare I start it back up? Fuck, man. Oh, that's not good. Shit. It's overheated as fuck. Oh. Oh, no. Fuck, man. Well, at least it's not the motor. Does that mean I got a hole in my fucking... Oh, no. It put a hole in my radiator. And the fan's fucked. Fuck, how did that happen? Shit. Oh, come on, man. Well, that sucks. Fuck. I don't have tools with me either. Well, here we go. Well, like I said, fortunately I live close enough to the mountain. I made it home, barely. Cut it off and coasted, cut it off and coasted. But, well, that fucking sucks. I mean, I don't know. I didn't hit anything. That I hit a rock, I mean, excuse me, a little stick in the road way back, but if that... I mean, it seems like they just exploded. It looks like one exploded and then it went over into the other one. Or that one exploded. I don't know what happened, but I got a hole in the radiator. That really sucks. And it's... I don't think it's a fin, because I was going to try and pinch the fin. It's like the end tank. Which, I mean, that can be fixed, but that really sucks. This is a $1,000 radiator. Anyway, well... I got an LS2 intake and a 92mm throttle body. Oh, Jesus. Well, yeah, I guess I've never really put this, backed this up on the ramps before. But, oh, yeah, no harm, no foul. Well, if you're new here, this is how it be for me. I'm going to end this video here and then walk to the back of the car and start another video. Anyways, that's how to properly put an LS2 intake and 92mm throttle body in a turbo LS Nitrous Miata and give it some good R&D and thorough testing. So, as always, I appreciate you watching. Thanks for subscribing. We'll see you in the next one. Later, y'all.